and I'm going to rodeo this weekend. It's every Wednesday night there was this rodeo session, so I'm getting ready to go down. I'm going to bronc ride, and David comes down to shoe a horse, and he walks up to me, and pretty funny, I don't know him yet at all. I haven't even met him. And he says, "Hey, mate," that's the first clue I had. He said, "I need a little extra money. Is there a rodeo around here I could go get some extra money at?" And I'm thinking right off the bat, well, buddy, you have to ride against me. I'm thinking, boy, you got a big ego. I'm gonna take you to school. Yes, there is. I'll drive you to it. So I take him down there. Oh my gosh, and he makes me look stupid. The guy comes out there and he's just smiling, and nobody at the rodeo would talk to him. Nobody would talk to him, and very few talk to me. And David gets out there and he wins it by a long shot. I mean, I've never seen anybody that can bronc ride better than David. And so I start following him around now to about 5 or 6 rodeos. We became good friends. Came back here to Australia about 10 years ago and we actually got to ride in a rodeo here together. One of the things that's meant the most to me was David gave me his actual bronc saddle that he took the Australian Championship in. And that's what I rode in for almost 10 years. And his chaps and his bronc saddle, so we became great friends, and he is just truly the most humble, nicest guy you'll ever meet. And a great trainer. And his wife, Sandy, she's another trainer. You guys heard it yesterday, great trainer. Just if you have any chance, I know this demo's 45 minutes. I cannot teach you everything in 45 minutes. But these guys live here in Australia, and I promise, they are phenomenal people. You cannot, you will not regret meeting them. They're just great people, and they'll be glad to help you at any stage of training. Now, the 3 different types of horses we have 3 different types of bits, right? Because one of the craziest things about training a horse is bits. It's probably the most confusing thing, right? Because you can walk into any tack store and find 3,000 bits. And so what bit do we use? Right? What bit is the right bit for your horse? Well, I figured this out. Bits don't train horses. Bits don't train horses. Right? If it did, it would be really nice. Because I could walk in and I could go to the section that says, here, stop bucking bit. And this section over here says stop rearing. And this section says I want to slide 10 feet. And this section says I want to slide 30 feet. It doesn't, so I understand bits don't train horses. So the neat thing you're going to get to see is how different types of bits work on different types of things. And the bit is never severe. It is the person using it. Any tool, every tool gets a bad name, whether it's spurs or dressage whips or sticks. It is not the tool that hurts. It's how the person uses it. And we want to blame it right on the tool. The tool doesn't hurt standing in the tack room. It's what we do with it. So I'm going to show you a couple different exercises that we do. Softness, in training horses. This is David's 2-year-old, and David's been great enough to let us use his horses. So this horse probably is just getting going. David's got a great start on this horse. My dad was upset because he wanted to ride the younger one and he wanted to ride the snaffle. My dad's one of those guys, he's really kind of likes this snaffle bit. And the snaffle bit, what this bit does is it allows me to bend side to side. It's a flexion bit side to side. It's not a vertical bit. I can still take this horse and flex him up straight. But what this bit is made to do is bend side to side, right? So you're teaching this horse to actually give the pressure side to side, and move your hip, right? Take his neck, move his hip. Now the fastest way to soften a horse up is use a body part to do it, right? One of the worst things you can do, right? One of the worst things you can do is you see him do it all the time. Oh, right. Yeah. One of the worst things you can see people do is they take the horse's nose and they flex it all the way around and they wait until the feet stop moving. right? Now, why would we do that? Why would we want to tell a horse that his head is disconnected from his feet? Okay, you've all felt it, and I want you to raise your hand, tell me if you liked it. And what you like is when you pick that horse's head up, he sticks it here and he runs off this direction. Right? Full throttle. Right? Do you like that feeling? So at no point am I going to tell this horse, I want to make sure your head is not connected to your feet. Because really, why am I bending the head? I'm bending the head to get connection to the feet. So I have to start with something. So when I pick up this rein, give an example, and this horse takes his head this way and he starts running this way, running out of the shoulders this way, I don't have control of my horse. The only reason he is in this arena is because there's a fence. That's it. So the Snapple bits work where I can get side to side pressure without panicking the horse. It's also a pound for pound bit. Means if I put 5 pounds of pressure up here on this mouth, then I'm putting 5 pounds of pressure on this horse's bit or mouth. Does that make sense? So it's pound for pound. If I put 5 pounds, he puts 5 pounds. This also allows the horse not to get afraid of the bit. Doesn't mean he's not going to start being afraid of it, but at least it takes the pain out of it. It takes the pain, because pain simply becomes a distraction, right? That's all it is. It's like you walking around shopping at these expos, put a little rock in one of your boots and see how long you shop for. All right? Before you stop. It becomes a distraction. So at this stage in the game, I don't want to cause a distraction for the horse. He has enough distractions. So I'm going to take his nose and start bending it side to side. Now what you're seeing David and my dad do, my dad says you don't need a pebble. He said just take your wife shopping. I was being politically correct. Nice. But what you see my dad and them working on is vertical flexion, pole flexion, where they're taking the horse and pushing him straight and softening them. So it's 2 different types of flexions on this horse. One is actually a flexion, the other is relaxation. Right? So bending the horse's head to the side, getting here, lets the horse actually relax his neck, not flex it, actually relax his neck. Taking the horse and actually bringing it to his chest is bending his neck, is actually flexing his neck. And those muscles you actually have to build up to carry for a amount of time. So take your chin and flex your neck as hard as you can. That's what I'm doing. That's when you look down at your horse, right now his neck looks thin to thick, doesn't it? Right? You look at my dad's horse, look at David's horse, when they flex him up straight, it goes thick to thin. Obviously because the muscle is flexing. Now how long can you hold this? I mean, at first, not very long. It takes repetition to build up that muscle strength. But right now with this horse, I need him to learn to relax his neck. Not panic, relax his neck. So his neck doesn't get thicker right now. Right now, it just gets more relaxed. It doesn't get thicker, it gets relaxed. All right, so I'm using his feet one way, right here. So when I go forward, I'm picking up the rein, and I'm saying, move your feet and make sure you always follow your nose. If I pick up this rein, and I feel this horse leak in this direction, and I'm going to push his tail right around and say, hey, right around until you follow your nose. Go that way. So at all times, I want this horse to learn that there's 2 types of rein. There's this direct rein and an indirect rein. A direct rein is right rein, go right. Left rein, go left. Those are direct reins. An indirect rein is taking this rein and neck reining your horse. Right? So it's saying left rein, go right. Well, it's doing the opposite. Right? So at this stage, softness, I'm teaching this horse to actually follow his nose. If I feel him leak out, I'm going to drive his hips. And driving his hip doesn't mean necessarily with my legs. My legs are the gas pedal. Right? That's the gas in your car. This is the steering wheel. Right? If you get in your car and you put it in reverse, right, and you're backing up and you want to go faster, do you pull harder on the steering wheel? Are you sure? You don't get in, hurry up, get back here faster. You don't do that? What do? Step on the gas pedal. So that's what I'm doing. If I'm here and this horse doesn't want to move the hip enough, then I'm going to take up and put on the gas pedal. Take the gas pedal. Move your hips. Go forward. Now right now I don't want to use one leg because the horse isn't trained well enough to use one leg. Right? Because what happens if he uses one leg, he's going to start hiding from that leg. Right? So you take that finger and you start poking in that rib. And you keep poking like this. What happens? You do this, don't you? You start hiding from it. Well, now what happens is I'm trying to actually get the horse to turn to the right. So I'm using my outside leg doing this. Well, this rib cage actually gets shorter and this rib cage gets longer. So I don't want to do that to the horse. Right now it's both legs. Both legs mean forward, release. Pick up the rein, move the hip. Forward, release. Pick up the rein, move the hip. Forward, release. Pick up the rein, move the hip. Forward. Until I feel I can control the direction and I feel his neck start to relax. Alright? Until his neck starts to relax. And then what happens, I get to add to it. Alright? I get to add to it. Alright? So if you picture, when I pick up this rein, all I want to do is follow his nose. I don't really care about his head right now. Just make sure that he goes this direction. Alright? So I can stay in control. Then I get to say, okay, now I'd like you not only to follow your nose, but wait till I feel the nose start to soften up. So I'll just wait a little bit longer till I feel the nose start to soften up. Pick up the reins, feel it start to soften up. Wait. So I feel it right there, and release it. Pick it up, say start to soften up, but still follow your nose. Don't get confused. Alright? Always make sure direction's your first priority right here. Alright? Because I don't want the horse to learn to separate from his feet. Direction's my first priority. Is he has to understand right rein, go right. So I wait here until all of a sudden I feel his nose start to soften up, release it. Tell him good. That's what I want. Alright? So now, if I move on, this is a great exercise to help start the horse. It's called a 3-step start and stop. So I go forward, I stop the horse, and I pick up both reins so I see him start to flex. Let him go. Go 3 more steps, stop. Squeeze your legs so I feel his nose start to come down, let him go. You can do this on any horse, any time. Because one of the things that makes the horse panic from the bit, that we think's panicking from the bit, is our legs. So we get those confused sometimes. We think that the reason he's panicking must be it's a bad bit. And a lot of times it's because of our legs, that they're actually scared of our legs. Right? So now I'm going to use both. I'm going to tell them, all right, so now as I go forward, stop, kind of squeeze my legs just a little bit until I feel his nose start to come down, let go. Right? Now again, I'm very going to, I think about that one thing. I don't think about anything else what he's doing. I think about one thing. This is what I'm looking for. As soon as I feel his nose start to soften up, release it, get out. All right, so now I'm actually starting to flex his nose straighter. In horse training, we've all get stuck in this routine. We bend the horse side to side. This is where we get stuck. But why do we bend the horse side to side? We bend the horse side to side so we can get him back straight. Back straight. This is where I want the horse to be. Where David and where my dad's riding is where I want the horse to end up. So everything I'm doing is to get back to that point, straight work. Right? So I'm only using the side to get him back to straight. So it's important to remember that you bend the horse, back to straight. Bend the horse. As soon as you bend him, you get to the result you want. You say bend, 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 back to straight. Bend, 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 back to straight. Right? So now we're doing the same thing. I'm going to try to use this rein to contain him and say bend, still follow your nose, back to straight. So I'm going to keep focusing on trying to get the horse back more in front of him than to the side. So bend, 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 bend. Keep following the nose, bend, till, it's not softened up enough, so wait. Back to straight. All right? How many of you have been told it takes years to develop good hands? You guys been told that? Who's been told that? Every rider. If anybody's ever taken a lesson, tells you it takes years to develop good hands. Has anybody here not ridden? That's a good sign. Who's here ridden the least, you think? I need somebody, volunteer. Good, come here. Yeah, come on out here. I'm going to show you, how quick it takes to develop good hands. It is not years. No. Yep. That's all right. Perfect. What's your name? Leslie. Josh, nice to meet you. All right, Leslie. What I want you to do is I want you to make a fist and hold that rein, just like that. All right, slide it down a little bit more. The rein. Right there. All right, you hold it right there. Now, that's a pull. That's a pull. That's a give. Can you feel that? Pull, 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 give. Give. You can feel that on your pinky, can't you? All right, so we're gonna do a test. What I want you to do is say out loud what you think I'm doing. All right, but you're gonna close your eyes. Keep your eyes closed, and when in doubt, guess. All right, so close your eyes. You ready? Pull. Give. How many did you miss? Perfect. Your hands are perfect. All right, so, but that just tells you right there, it's not our hands. The hands are not the problem. You know what you can tell when your horse is pulling on you. You can feel that. It doesn't take years to develop that. We know when they're pulling on us, right? But what happens is our eyes, our eyes deceive us. Our eyes see that horse's head come to the side. We think, he must be giving. And our hand is screaming, saying, he's not giving, he's still pulling. But because our eyes see the horse's head come to the side, we let go. So what happens is it takes time not to listen to your eyes. Don't listen to your eyes, focus on your hands. You know what the feeling is, you can feel it. But your eyes will always override, what your hands are telling you is wrong. So it takes time, to learn how to do that, not to listen to your eyes. All right, Dad, what would you like to show? Okay, well, what my dad's working on, right? He's gonna use the diagonal, the softness of the nose for transitions, to have the horse not panic with transitions. So all he's gonna do, you're gonna watch him pick up his nose to the side, bring it into the point of his shoulder, bring his shoulders to the right, and have the horse step forward into the left lead. When he breaks the horse down, he's gonna break him down by asking him for the diagonal to the right. Softening his shoulder. Instead of just taking the horse and bringing him back straight where the horse can panic and stiffen up, he's going to take the horse and say soften up here to the side and lope off. And then break him down by break him down to the side and lope off. So as he breaks the horse down, he's making the horse shorter. Instead of breaking the horse down straight and having the horse actually get longer. All right, so. You guys, where's another mic? There's no, I've learned this from my dad. You can ask him a question. yes, no question. What would you like for dinner? You know, did you like the movie? It's a yes, no question. And it's a 4-hour conversation. So let me just go ahead and give him a mic. There's no way.
He asked me what I want for dinner. I'm just supposed to say beans. I mean, give me a break. Okay, in the transition, rather than just using the bit, what we're trying to do is get the horse completely relaxed. If he's afraid of the bit, if he's nervous, if he thinks he's going to get hurt, then he's going to anticipate doing that. So my goal in a transition, and a transition is just a fancy word for change. That's all it is. It could be a change in direction, it could be a change in speeds, a change in gaits, etc. So my goal, when I go, let's say, from a walk to a trot, I don't want to see an ear flick. I don't want to see the horse aggravated by his tail. I don't want to see the horse raise his head. None of those things. I don't want to see the horse go ooh, ouch. I don't even want to see him blink. So those are my goals in a transition. So the diagonal helps me do that. If I think of a correct diagonal is the horse's head is down, he's soft on the bridle, his neck is nice and soft, the base of his neck is nice and soft, and so there's no resistance in it. So as I move diagonally, it tells me, without having to go through that whole process, if I'm thinking about going from a trot to a walk, I don't have to go, is his head down, is he nice and soft, is his upper neck nice and soft, is the base of his neck nice and soft, is his shoulders nice and soft, is he relaxed? I don't have to go through that before I say, now go into the canter. If I just think diagonal, then I put a correct diagonal together, and then it also puts the horse's feet in the right position for the canter. If I'm thinking going to the left, and I want the horse in the left lead, if I go left, then it's natural for the horse to lean to the left. It is natural for me to think I'm going left, and so lean left. So now I'm putting all the weight over here, and the horse goes into the canter, but he leans to the left. What I'd like him to do is stand up straight as he goes into the canter. So if I take him and if I move him diagonally, if I'm thinking about picking up the left lead, here he's walking in his right lead. There's his right lead. Now, if I go slightly a little bit more, let's say towards 2 o'clock, what you see is his front legs cross. So here his right lead is in, his right leg is stepping out in front of his left leg. But if I take him, and let's say 12 o'clock is straight forward, 1 o'clock is slightly to the right, 2 o'clock is a little bit more to the right. 1 o'clock, he would be walking in his right lead. You see his right front leg stepping out in front of his left front leg. But if I take him to 2 o'clock rather than 1 o'clock, then what will happen is he will cross his front legs. He will also cross his hind legs. So now his left hind leg is stepping up in front of his right hind leg. His left front leg is crossing over in front of his right front leg. So if I ask him to go in a canter in that position, he can't hardly get his right leg around to pick up the right lead. He's going to pick up the left lead. So by using the diagonal, I get his head and at the right elevation. I have him nice and soft, and relaxed on the bridle, because I want his head down in a diagonal. Now I have put him in his left lead, both front legs and hind legs. So now if I have him completely relaxed and stepping in that direction, when I go into the canter, I've got the best chance of him relaxing and staying soft on the bridle, same elevation with his head, and relaxed with his head. So here, so I'll get him in that position, and then take him diagonally, and then let him go into the canter. As he goes into the canter, I don't let him go left. What I want him to do is go diagonally into the canter and then go perfectly straight, so he doesn't lean to the left. And so that makes it nice for him, so he doesn't get in the habit of going flop over into that lead. So it's a nice, pretty way and a very easy way. You don't have to worry about your legs. You don't have to worry about giving him a specific cue to have him pick up that lead. In fact, if you squeeze him evenly, rather than with one leg, if you put him into that diagonal, and all you're doing is squeeze him evenly with both legs, and then what happens, since you've already placed the horse's legs, then he's going to pick up the canter that you want. If you want to come back later and teach him single leg cues for the canter, then great. As I take him from the canter back to the trot, what I want to do is also use the diagonal. So the diagonal again at the canter, I'll soften his nose, soften his shoulders, soften the gait, and take him down nice and easy, not to the walk, but to the trot on the diagonal. So I go diagonal up, diagonal down. That tells me, John, make sure you have your priorities straight. Soften the bridle, head at the correct elevation. I see no change, not even him blink. I specifically watch his eye. When I give him the cue to go into the canter or squeeze him slightly with my legs, I don't even want to see him blink, let alone an ear move, anything else. I want him completely relaxed. If I stop him and I feel him raise his head, and push on that bridle and kind of get scared of that bit, then I don't stop him. I just keep working on the transition up and down, either from the trot to the walk to the stop maybe, but mainly from the walk going up to the trot, and I'll show you that. So here,
Remember, we have 45-minute demo.
Okay. I'll walk with him, put him in the diagonal, have him nice and soft, have him relaxed in my hand, put him into the diagonal, think trot, and then ease, just slightly bring your legs into him to where he doesn't change anything. His ears stay up, he's happy, he doesn't mind doing it. Horses don't mind doing what you ask, but they may mind how you ask them to do it, which is really important. It's nice and easy. You want to try to take all the aggravation you possibly can out of the training. Okay, Joshua.
Okay, one. Good job.
What do I know? I'm the dad.
One of the things, when we walked in and we see how excited this horse was. When a horse is excited, where's his head? And it's up. When the horse is running away from the bit, where's his head? Up. So really, one of the things that you see that's very important that I learned how to control is the head elevation. Right? And it's real simple, right? Because it's called motivator, spot, direction, reward. Motivator is the reins. This is what creates or inspires change. I'm putting pressure on this horse. The more pressure I put on him, I'm going to wait on that rein until I feel this horse take his pole and want to go down with it. So when I see it wanting to go down, I release it and say, listen, if you stay down here, I'll leave you alone. You stay down here. So now, when the horse is walking like this, does he look quieter or more nervous? Because then, and if you think that you can be more nervous this way, what I'd like you to do is stick your head between your knees and get excited. And it doesn't work that way, does it? So I can take a simple exercise just like this, while they were talking, and say, listen, you can move, do anything you want, but I'm going to pick up this rein, and I'm going to focus right on the tip of this ear. All right? Until I see that ear want to go down, I'm going to keep pressure on it. When that spot goes down, I'll release it. And you can walk around here, but you're going to keep your head in this frame. You're going to learn to calm down. that there was nothing in here to be afraid of. Now, if you put a horse's head this low at this speed, there's only two reasons a horse puts his head this low. One's to eat, and the other is to lay down. Alright? So, you do it long enough, pretty soon the horse thinks, well, maybe I want to lay down. Right? And I don't know if the horse will even do it or not. But I do know this, that he's got two things. This is what's going through his head right now. Right? Instead of him trying to run out of the arena, he's thinking, there obviously is no grass. There is no grass there. And the only other reason I ever put my head down this low, is to lay down. And it is a huge misunderstanding that people think horses buck with their head down. Horses buck with their head everywhere. I've had them buck with their head down. David will tell you. There's a reason you mark that rein. If horses bucked every time with the head in the same position, well, then I could ride the rope in the same position, couldn't I? I can't do that. So David learns that when you're riding broncs, you take a measurement, right? So you pull that rein back and you say, all right, from the cantle, a fist plus a thumb is an average. So if I don't know the horse, I'm just going to take an average and mark the rein right there. If this horse pulls down pretty hard, I'm going to take an average plus 3. We're going to mark it right there. I don't want the horse to pull down so hard he pulls me out of the saddle. So that tells you there is no consistency with where the horse's head's going to be when he bucks. Some buck with him up, some buck with him down, some buck with him, to the side. That makes no difference. But what I'm teaching this horse here is that when I touch this rein, don't think about bringing your head up. If you bring your head up, I'm going to pick up pressure until you take your head down there. You take your head and you learn the first response when I touch this rein is that. Right? First response is I want your head to not come up. So I put pressure, motivation, spots that ear. So I keep looking at the ear and say direction is down. So wait till I see the ear and you can watch it. You're able to see the thought go through his head. Once that thought goes through his head, I release it. Then pretty soon, don't take it up. Pretty soon this gets better. This is a 5-minute exercise. I like to do in here just while I'm trying to get the horse relaxed and move around. 5 minutes to teach it. There's nothing that can get a horse's head this low, this quick, than your hands. That's how quick a horse learns. It is your hands that make the horse go. You don't need a special tool to get a horse's head down this low. You saw this horse when he came in. There's a big difference right now with the head elevation. All right, so your hands are the fastest training tools you can do. But you got to go through that format. Motivator, spot, and be specific. Look at the spot you're looking with. Stay focused. It's that spot. If it doesn't come down enough, pick it up. Say, hey, that spot. The only time I'm going to release this rein is when I see that spot. Say, that spot needs to think down, down. Pick it up, down. When I touch that rein, go down with it. Go down with it. All right, so something this simple. Teach this horse how to relax and go down. All right, David. Let's show something you're going to play with.
Okay. What we'll work on is shoulder control in the sense of turnarounds and getting the shoulders lighter and softer. Now when we get on and ride these horses, usually what we've sort of come to figure out is that the hind quarter is the easiest thing to use or easiest thing to move, but the hardest thing to get us to use. Alright, so the hardest thing for the horse to use is his hindquarters for us, but the easiest thing to move. The shoulders are the hardest things for the horse to use, but probably the easiest thing to move. That's because all the weight is over the front end. So we've got to sort of teach him to actually lighten these shoulders up and be able to follow the reins just by being guided, alright, without sort of pulling on him and pushing on him. So what we can do is we can use this back end to help us shift these shoulders.
That's pretty low.
Just in some of the exercises that Josh and John's been showing you. Now again, in a turnaround or getting the horse to bend and flex, he's also got to use his rib cage and not push into your leg or not bow out, not push into the direction, because if he pushes into the direction, what he does is pulls his outside shoulder back, And then of course he starts cross-firing and hitting himself, and then he starts to get all uptight and upset. Now, what we can do is, what we want to teach the horse is, we want to teach the horse to follow the reins, okay, and learn to follow and lighten these shoulders up. Now,
Hold on, Dave, I got one thing. Can you guys all understand them?
I'm the easiest to
just checking.
understand, aren't I? They're the hardest.
I'm this either.
Wow. Now, it's also getting the horse to actually use his hindquarter and getting him using this inside hind leg to get him to actually place it and actually put weight on it. Now, a good little exercise that I play around with when I'm first starting to teach these horses to lighten their shoulders up and start moving is, all I'll do is I'll just bring him in a circle like this, and I'll just use my inside leg, and all I'll do is I'll just start bumping him on his barrel. So what I'm targeting is this hind end here. This hind end, I'm just going to take my hands over here. If I want to take him to this hip, this is where I'll take him, and I'll just push. And I'll just push here. Now, a horse that's not used to this, what the horse will probably do is be more of this type of movement, like this here. Alright? So what I want to do is I want to teach him to start to figure out where to place his feet. Alright? Especially these feet here, where to place them. Where to place them. And let him work it out, let him get his feet underneath him. Alright? I'm just pushing here, pushing, 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 and then what I'm going to look for is just what the horse did then. Did John help me then? I was waiting for him to come around so he could help me. Now, what I'm looking for, excuse me, is I'm going to push that hindquarter around to the side, just like a hip cue that would do, but I'm just pushing this hindquarter. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this hindquarter to push these shoulders forward. Now you'd think by me bumping on the inside of him that he'll want to go out there and move away and run away from the rein or run away from the direction. And of course they will. They will run out here if you let them. But what I'm just going to do is I'm going to steer him with his backside, because we all know that, you know, we can pick up on the rein and haul on their heads, but these shoulders, if they're not listening, they just go where they want anyway. So I'm just going to steer him. I want this horse to travel forward and be light and go around, but I know as soon as I pick up the rein, he's going to move his backside anyway. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use what he does to my advantage and say, right, I'm going to just move you around, move you around, move you around. I've got my hands over here because I want the horse to follow my hands. Move around, and his shoulders are going to start to get a little bit lighter because he's putting a little bit more weight on his hind end, and then he starts stepping. So then I'm just going to let him out. Now, the biggest thing about the turnaround, it's not about kicking him with your legs to make him turn, because the more I kick him with my legs, the more I'll counter flex them or counter bend them or get them pushing into my leg or bracing their barrel, and there's the more that they'll pull up on you. Because we can actually teach a horse, you know, you hear the terminology, the horse sucking back. So we can teach the horse to suck back with our hands, but we can also teach the horse to suck back with our legs. All right, the horse can actually brace to our legs, and we can teach his feet to suck back as well. So our legs are more of backing up our hands. So the general rule of thumb is that I want the horse to be guided by my hands, and my legs tell the horse. So my legs back up my hands. Now, my legs aren't used for speed. My legs are only used for rhythm, okay? Now, let's say if we work on this horse now, I want to teach the horse that he follows my hand and stays under my hand. Now, we're looking for rhythm in the turnaround, so I don't take my legs off, and the horse should just stand there. Now, you see he stopped, all right? So I wouldn't go ahead and just reef the reins over here, because then I'll get the horse to be afraid of my hands, but also he'll get worried, and then he'll stop and slow up because he'll think that I can never keep up with your hands. I want the horse to stay under my hands. Now, if we ask the horse to go in a rhythm, so really, really slow, really, really slow, and he should just stay here. Now, if he breaks rhythm, then all I'll do with my leg is just bump and say, hey horse. Now, when he broke rhythm, just like here, it wasn't his face or his neck that broke the rhythm, it was his body. So I'm going to bump him with my leg to tell the body to keep back and catch my hand. And then what I can do is I can start clucking to him. And then the cluck becomes the rhythm. So bump, come on, you keep up, and then whoa. Then walk out. Alright, now again it's teaching the horse to chase my hand. Alright, then I just go back, bumping that barrel, getting the horse to bend, so-called what we say is bend around my leg. But what I've got to think about when the horse is bending around my leg, I can bump him with my leg, but what I can do is I can get him to bend too much. So I don't want the horse to bend too much, and I don't want the horse to push into my leg. Really what I want to do is I want to teach the horse to contract his barrel and pull his shoulder and hip close together. So we just walk. Now remember, we walk in and we walk out. I don't want to kick the horse and hammer the horse with my legs to create speed, because then I'll just get the horse worried about the turnaround. So all we do is just sit here. Out. Alright, so again, it's about not getting the horse to panic or be worried in it, and get the horse to where he wants to go in himself. Now, my leg, again, is only to get the rhythm. Then out. Okay, so if I use my leg too much or too hard, then what I'll do is I'll actually teach the horse to then counter bend, so he'll actually go in the turnaround in a reverse arc circle, and then what he starts to do, as we can see here, he starts to pull that outside shoulder back, and then he starts hitting himself, and then he actually slows down and he can't do it. So then of course it teaches us to start kicking harder, because he's losing speed, so we have to start kicking him more. So then what he does, he takes offence to our leg, and then you can actually teach him to run off and take off and bolt. Alright, so the biggest thing about the reiners and the reining horses is, you see, so then I'll bump him. Oh. So it's all about the cue and the rhythm of the horse. So again, it's like teaching the horse to dance. We teach the dance step first, nice and slowly, and as the horse and we get better at dancing, then we become more fluid, and then we can do it faster and faster and faster, because it's all about the balance. Alright, teaching the horse to keep his feet underneath him. Alright, underneath him. So we got the nose, we got the shoulder, and we got the hip. So John taught me this a while ago about steering the horse with his back end, and it took me a while to figure it out, but just by playing around with it, I said,
Hey David, we have 5 minutes left.
5 minutes? Well, I'm probably as bad as John in talking. Get me started, I can't stop. So, you got anything else, Josh? I'll let you finish it off. How's that?
No, finish your sentence.
Finish it off. I'm just about
No,
done.
finish your sentence.
I don't want to take
finish
over.
it off.
Oh, okay. Because we focus so much on these shoulders, you know, and we said, all right, we walk the horse along, and seeing anyone can pick up the rein and say, you know what, I just want to go over here. You know, we pull on that inside rein and we go over here, and then we go, all right, I just want to go over here. But when we pick up this rein and just pull on the horse, did you see which direction he went before he went right? He actually went left. So then, of course, our aids and our cues get harder and harder, because then what ends up happening is my hands end up arguing with my feet. Because the more I pull on the reins, the harder I have to kick. And the more I kick with my legs is the harder I have to pull. Alright? Now, sometimes we can we pick up on the reins.
That's a long sentence.
It was. Sometimes we pick up on the reins, and the horse is stiff and bracy through the neck and face, but it could be coming from his barrel. So we need to soften his barrel and vice versa, isn't it? So I'm going to pull up there because we could maybe talk forever. I had a good teacher in speech therapy, and that was John here. So right, Josh, I'll quieten down now. Thank you.
Great job, David. Oh, I can't get him to say 2 words at dinner. Alright, so hopefully for this demo, what we're trying to show you just all kinds of different ways that how the softness, how important it is for them to give, whether it's the shoulder, the ear, the hip, the straightness, for transitions, for going, for any of those maneuvers, the same thing. You know, if this is my 2-year-old, you know, right now, being the first time out doing things like this is what I'd be doing with it. Teaching it, calm down. You know, stay calm, working on just softening them up. And everything I'm doing here, you can actually see the horse is actually getting better at steering. The steering's not getting worse, steering's actually getting better. The horse is not fighting the bit nearly as much, he's getting softer, and he's learning to take the head, say soften your nose, and take the head down. Relax. It's okay to relax. It's okay to calm down. So pick up the reins. Soften the nose up, soften it up. So I do this at a trot, at a walk, then I go to the trot, and then I do the same exercise at the lope and say, calm down. You know, it's always nice to have a cue on your horse that says, calm down. Right? So it's important to have this cue. So if I can control the head elevation, then I can put the head elevation wherever I want to put it. Right? That's the nice thing about it, is you get to put it wherever you want to put it. So what I do is I just make sure I can put it in every direction, which is all the way up here and all the way down there. So when I walk in and a judge, some judges like it flat, well then I can put it flat. If some judges want it down 4 more inches, I can put it down 4 more inches. If some judges want it up, well, you just hold the sucker up. And but if I can't learn, if I just ride one frame and I practice only one style, one way of where to put that head, then I'm only going to have one place where I can put that horse's head. Right? And I need to learn how to control this horse's emotions, his body, you know, and his softness. Everything has to do with softness. The horse's steering is getting better. He's not nearly as nervous or excited, and he's thinking more back here, not about you guys out there. Right? So as for a 2-year-old, this is a lot of stuff I'll be doing that Snaffle bit, teaching him not to panic, not to relax. A lot of long and low work, stretching out, build his muscles, build his back, bring him back up, elevate him for a while, help him hold that frame, then lengthen him back out, stretch that frame back out. All right, so anyway, I want to make sure, I thank my dad, right here. He truly, like I said, I have a lot of equine friends, you know, and a lot of people I respect in the industry, but I only have one role model, and that is my dad. He is by far the best horseman I know. And I thank David, like I said, one of my very, very best friends. You know, I can't respect him enough. Like I said, you cannot, I'm very surprised he talks that much, but you could not meet a nicer guy over here. So if you want to learn more about the methods, David and Sandy are both here, and they actually stay in Australia. So they'll be here, and they have a booth right there. And I got one more thing. No, one more thing. Hey, take this one. That's not a good idea. Mike, come out here. Dan, come here. Mike and Dan, hurry up. We're giving something away. We're going to give some books away. Anybody's birthday today?